Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's UCC ItsPayd webinar. We will begin shortly. We just want to allow some other attendees to be able to join us. We will begin in about 1 minute. Okay, again, thank you so much for joining us today with the UCC ItsPayd webinar. My name is Ken Green. I'm your host. Before we begin, I just wanted to go over a couple of housekeeping items. First is, if you have any questions, please use the chat feature located on the right side of your screen. Feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself on the chat feature as well. All questions will be answered at the end of the webinar. Another thing I'd like to mention before we begin, I just want to first thank Catherine Schultz from UCC for putting on this webinar this morning and helping us organize this. The other thing I also wanted to let you know that the slides for this webinar will be made available. If you have any questions or would like to have a copy of the slides, feel free to either contact Catherine. I will also include my contact at the end of the webinar, so if you have any questions, you're able to contact me directly. Please feel free to do so. With that said, we'll go ahead and jump right in on the webinar. Leveraging text technology to help reduce the occurrences of late payments, past dues, as well as to help reduce attrition. My goal today is to have you walk away with a better knowledge of today's existing technology and how you're able to use that to enhance and improve your internal productivity within your organization, to help reduce costs, obviously to reduce any past due occurrences, and more importantly, to help you provide a better customer experience for your customers, as well as to grow your business. What I always like to do is always kind of go back in time and look at how technology has evolved. And, you know, as I advance to the next slides, it's interesting because I'm sure many of you remember these types of devices that were in our hands back in the day. As a matter of fact, I have quite a number of these devices still in my drawer at home, and I'm sure many of you probably remember this, the old BlackBerry. It's interesting how technology has evolved and the evolution of mobile devices. You know, we actually went from this flip phone to what basically is an all-in-one computer in less than just one generation. And we are now we're in what we call a mobile first revolution, where smartphones, mobile devices are not only a part of our daily lives, it really is kind of helping us manage our lives more. And what used to be just a form of communication, whether it was a voice or text, emails, chats, even for social media, it's really now evolved into helping us control devices for within our home, within our office. It actually helps control security devices in our home, appliances. It can even be used to turn on your vehicle and even set the temperature. And it's fascinating because of the mobile first revolution, how the development of now we actually have apps for just about the weather, to having a ride share such as Uber or Lyft, even food delivery. You can even actually order movie tickets and go to the movies, and obviously dating as well. So it's really interesting how apps have evolved and it's part of our usage of mobile devices. And what we found out is not just your very own mini computer. We're really seeing mobile devices as really an all-in-one device. And I like to share some statistics. Within the next couple of years, and gosh, this is really interesting because we're already 2018. By 2020, it's estimated that the world is going to be having approximately nearly 8 billion people living in the world. What is really fascinating is that at that time, we're expected to have somewhere between 50 to 75 billion connected devices, meaning that everyone on Earth, in essence, can have potentially between 6 to 10 connected devices. So really the saturation of these smartphones and the mobile first economy means that obviously mobile devices are everywhere. So if you really want to reach someone where they're most likely to be, it really is going to be right there on their mobile device. It's going to provide immediate and consistent access to other people and businesses, literally with the touch of a button. I like to kind of talk about how we've, as a society and culture, really changed in the way we communicate. And I remember the days when you actually had to write a letter, obviously face to face, or even just picking up the phone and dialing a phone. If I actually say dial a phone now to many of the a younger generation, they have no idea what dialing a phone means. So, but now because of the computer and smartphone, it really has accelerated, our communication from the usage of emails and texting, truly the most common used of modes of communication this day. As a matter of fact, I want to move on to talking a little bit about how consumers use email as well as text. As you're very well aware, email, 22% of consumers check their email first thing in the morning. And it truly is at one time the primary tool of communication for all of us. And it predominantly is for many of us. But what I found interesting is that over the course of the last few years, the text messaging is really starting to become a predominant form of communication. As a matter of fact, 35% of consumers read their text messages first thing in the morning. And it is today the most prevalent form of communication, and it deserves much more role in your business communication. As a matter of fact, texting is the most dominant form of communication for those that are under 50 years old, and obviously for the millennials as well. And for those that say, well, my business really works with older demographics and really doesn't apply to me, a startling statistic is that seniors actually, 80% of those own a cell phone. And what was unique is of those, they spend 42 hours a month just on apps alone. So if you feel as though that, hey, texting and cell phones and all that really don't apply to the older demographics, that's simply not true. They are probably the fastest growing group that uses cell phones and texting and obviously the usage of apps. Which leads me to talk about using texting as a business communication strategy. And I want to outline 7 compelling reasons why you should look at texting as a business communication strategy. The first one would be it provides you a competitive edge. If you're currently on a level playing field with your competitors, texting does give you that edge. It does allow you to be able to stand out from your competition. And one of the questions I always ask is, what is more personal than a text conversation? So one question I want to ask is, when you email somebody versus texting someone, who is it that you have a closer relationship with? Invariably, most of the answers I get is those that I text are the ones I have a personal relationship with. And wouldn't that be the kind of relationship that you would want to have with your customers as a personal relationship? At least in a sense that that's the way they feel about you. Number 2, customer experience. In today's business environment, you really need to satisfy today's experience-seeking customers. Businesses really build brand loyalty, not just by providing the best product, but it really is about offering what we call a better experience. And texting is one of the most efficient ways to give your customers that level of experience. A third compelling reason, response rate. People respond to text far more than they do phone calls and emails. As a matter of fact, 95% of texts are read within 3 minutes, compared to only 14% that answer phone calls, or even 20% that even open emails. I'm sure that many of you, when you have a cell phone in hand, when you actually receive a phone call from a number you don't know, how often do you actually answer that? Versus if you actually see a text or receive a text on your phone, there's a greater likelihood that you're actually going to be reading that. The fourth reason, your competition is doing it. And if your competitor is doing it, just remember point one, that texting gives you an advantage. I guess the point I want to make out is one of the most detrimental things to your business is waiting too long to do something that you know that you already need to do. Number five, mobile first. And this is a compelling statistics that kind of startled me in the beginning as well. But did you know that mobile viewers make up most website hits now? As a matter of fact, 60% of all web traffic takes place on a mobile device, and that number is increasing. So if you already have half of your viewers already on their smartphones, why not go ahead and contact them where they're most likely to be and utilizing text to do so? Number six, flexibility. As a matter of fact, this is probably one of the most compelling reasons for me personally, because it's interesting that most businesses operate between 8 to 5 daily, Monday through Friday. But most customers are working between 8 to 5. And it's really not conducive to be able to communicate with people, especially customers when they're either at work doing their job or even at home in the evening, spending time with their family. Texting really provides that flexibility to be able to allow you to reach out to your customer in a way that it's perceived by them a very convenient way to communicate. And the last compelling reason, obviously, it's your newest customers. Millennials, if they're not already the bulk of your customer base, they will soon be a bulk of your customer base. And as a matter of fact, this is their number one preferred form of communication, is texting. Now, what I like to move on to next is talking a little bit about what we call a changing payment landscape. I'm sure many of you are aware of this particular symbol, one click, and it's an Amazon logo here, but it is in essence kind of revolutionized the way people view how they pay for things. And what I like to do is kind of talk about this concept of frictionless payments, where now consumers will be able to purchase products by just simply walking up and tapping a phone or tapping a credit card to a machine. I remember the days when there was a company called ExxonMobil, which I'm sure many of you are aware of, came up with this concept called Speed Pass. When you pull up to a gas pump and then you actually, instead of having to put the credit card in or going inside to make a payment, all you have to do is take this device that was connected to your keychain and swipe it across the pump, and you're able to fill up your gas tank. That was kind of the first inferences of how this whole concept of frictionless payments occurs. Now today, it's fascinating because actually my children order their coffee and actually order me coffee as well on their mobile phone. All they do is just drive through Starbucks without even have to worry about making a payment, just pick up their coffee. The transaction is completed. That's really causing what we call a change in the way consumers behave or consumer behavior. And as we become more connected, mobile technology is becoming increasingly central to the customer experience. It really is the last hurdle, is what we call making it easy for customers to make a payment. And what we're finding out is that this whole concept of frictionless payments is designed to ensure that we reduce what we call abandonment rate, and more importantly, improve what we call a conversion rate. As you're probably aware, anytime you have a smooth payment experience, meaning that if it make it easy for a person to pay, the likelihood of them going through with a transaction increases. Conversely, if you make or create hurdles that prevent a customer from making a payment to you very easily, then there's going to be a likelihood they're just going to abandon the entire process. And then we see that quite often in the industry when we ask for a person to make a payment and then you ask them to log on, but then when you do, you ask them to provide a username or password. When it gets to that point, it starts to feel like a lot of work. And what the goal of it is, hey, we want to make it simple for your customers to pay you. And I'm sure everyone will agree. We want to make it so it's really easy for customers to pay us because obviously we want them to pay us. So I kind of want to highlight the fact that, really a great payment experience is the one which makes the least impression on the user. I know it's kind of contrary to what it means, but the goal of it is to make it really simple for your customers to be able to make a payment to you. And that's the whole concept of frictionless payments. And you'll see that as we start to progress and as we start to move forward in society, that this whole idea of making a payment is going to become simpler and simpler. And anything that prevents that, your customers are going to walk away saying, I came away with a bad experience because I, I found that having to pay someone and going through these hurdles is going to, in essence, make them walk away with a bad experience. So that's what I see as happening within their economy. So I really kind of wanted to highlight that. As you know, using technology to make business can significantly impact not only our daily lives, but how we do things. So using the right technology and doing it the right way improves communication. It provides flexibility. It impacts customer loyalty, which in turn will help you retain your customer, will help you get paid, and it will allow you to be able to focus your resources on business development rather than on collecting that same dollar that you already are owed. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about how ItsPayd works and give you an understanding. We've developed a platform that automates the settlement of past due bills. We actually created a system that automates communications to at-risk customers by utilizing text and messaging, email. And if a customer doesn't pay, it actually continues to send out the notifications. It allows you to have complete control over your what we call a customer life cycle, and more importantly, help keep your customers enrolled and engaged. And what we believe is once a lost opportunity is now a renewed opportunity for both you and your customer. And what I like to do is, if you see the web URL right up there, go ahead and type that into your browser, and don't actually fill out that form yet. I'll have you do that in just a minute, but I actually wanted to show you the back end of ItsPayd and show you how the automation works and more importantly, the analytics behind it. So you're able to track your customers' communication. By clicking on this, it will actually take us to here, onto the dashboard. And then I'll be focusing on three areas right now. Under the settings, all that communication that goes out via ItsPayd is 100% branded with your contact information. It will have your company name. It will have your email address. So if they reply to an email, they'll go directly to you. It will also obviously have your phone number. So if they need to contact you, you'll have a phone number. And it will also have your logo as well. So anytime they click on the logo, it'll go directly to your website. And more importantly, they know it's coming directly from you. The other two areas I want to focus on are customizing messages. And this is exactly how our automation works. ItsPayd has developed a system that will allow you to be able to send out notifications and actually choose the type of message that you would like to send to your customer via email as well as text. So you're able to customize the messaging that you want to send out to your customers. How the automation works is if your customer does not pay, you can actually set it up so it will send out a second series of notifications automatically. And again, all the messaging is customized, so you'll be able to add any type of messaging that you want to, either more customer service friendly, or if you want to create a greater sense of urgency, you could do that. If after the second notification, your customer doesn't pay, then a third notification goes out. And again, you're able to actually change the number of days between the first notification, second notification, as well as a second notification and the third notification, as well as you're able to actually create your own customized message that you want to send out to your customers, ensuring that they're aware of why that they owe, and more importantly, gives them an opportunity to pay directly from the mobile device without the use of a username or password. So that's the first part of the automation. You'll automatically send out the notifications. If your customer doesn't pay, it will continue to send the notifications out to your customers, reminding them that payment is due. And again, it does it automatically. I'm going to go back and focus on the second part of the automation, which is creating what we call default payment options. Nice thing about default payment options is what you actually offer to your customers. Right now, I'm actually just removing the ones, and I'm going to show you exactly how to set up the default payment options. First, I'll just add a payment option, and obviously, the most important payment option to offer is what we call a payment in full option. So we just selected one payment. We'll just say bill every week. One-time charges are charges that you can add in addition to what they already owe. We've got a percentage due, so obviously it's at 100%, but if you do purchase an old book of business and you're cleaning up their AR, you can actually offer discounts and settlements if you wanted to. For this particular example, I'm just going to go ahead and set the payment offer for a pay in full. And for this particular exercise, I'll just add a couple more. So I know that on occasion, if you do have a customer that's late in paying, they say they're unable to make a full payment, that you probably are willing to break the payments out. So that gives your customers an ability to pay in installments. And what we've done is we've developed so that you can actually offer your payments to be able to, or your customers to be able to pay you back weekly, every other week, or once a month. So for this particular exercise, I'll just go ahead and do a bill every week. I'll set the payment offer there. And I just also wanted to share with you here that you can actually add recurring charges if you want to. So if you want to help cover some administrative expenses for having to offer payment plans, you can certainly do that. Again, this is over and above what your invoice total is. So for this particular exercise, I'll just leave it at 0. I'll set the payment offer. And I'll just do one more. I'll just create 4, and I'll just bill every week, charge every week. Leave everything else 0 at 100%. So these are basically the payment options that you're going to offer your customers. Again, these are customized options. I'm just using these 3 as an example, but you have obviously full control over what you want to offer. The nice thing is that if your customer does select a payment option, let's say, for example, a 4-week option, again, ItsPayd automates the entire process. So once a payment is made, all future payments will be automated. So you don't have to remind your customer about making a payment. You won't have to remember to process that payment on the due date. ItsPayd does it automatically. In addition, your customers are going to be made aware of when the next payments are due, and we'll let them know how much is due and on what day. So again, the automation takes care of it. The only thing you have to worry about is just sending notification out and just watch the money come in. The only thing remaining is actually just adding an account in the system. So for that, I'm just going to go right here, and I'll just add a single statement. The only pieces of information that's needed for ItsPayd to work is really 5 pieces of information. The name of the customer, either the email address or mobile number, preferably both, but one or the other, the date of the last statement, the invoice number that references what they owe and how much, and the amount that's outstanding. The optional items are customer number, which would be your internal number to help identify your customer, as well as location and item description. So if you've got more than one location, you could actually add the location in, as well as if you wanted to identify what the amount that they owe for, you can put under item descriptions. So such as if it's just for a monitoring contract, you could put there. If it's for a service-related call, or obviously any additional equipment. And again, when you add those in, you can actually add that into your messaging to further customize the message so your customer knows what this is. For this particular exercise, I'm just going to go ahead and add my name, and I'll just add just basic information in here. I'll put the date of last statement as today. I'll just put the reference number as 123. I'll say that I owe $100. And I will go ahead and create that particular statement. And then you'll see here the statement details. You'll also notice that these are the payment options I have made available. Again, from here you can actually customize it. You can delete it. So example, I can actually change this from a 2-week to a 3-week, or I can actually just remove it altogether. So that way you have various types of payment options that you're going to make available. You'll notice that down here there's nothing, no statement history because we haven't sent it out yet. The only other thing that I want to talk about it is you can send the notifications out. The nice thing about ItsPayd is, let's say, for example, you're going to go on vacation this Friday, but you want the notifications to go out on Monday. You can actually choose a future date when you want the notifications to go out. And then it'll go out on the date that you've got scheduled. So that way you can go on your vacation, not have to worry about the notifications being sent. For this particular example, I'm just going to go ahead and send the statement now. And with that said, go ahead and under this particular URL, if you haven't done so, go ahead and enter this in. I want you to go ahead and send yourself a demo so you'll see exactly the customer's viewpoint. It'll ask you for your name, your email address, your mobile number. Just ensure that you check that you agree to it, and go ahead and send yourself a demo. And under the demo, it will ask you, go ahead and select some payment options. And I'm sure that what you probably received was something like, uh-oh, your account with ItsPayd demo business is past due. Please visit this link to see the available payment options. If you're doing it on your mobile device, go ahead and click that particular link. It will actually take you to a page that will show you. Obviously, right now it says ItsPayd Demo Company with the logo there. Obviously, again, as I mentioned, it will be 100% branded with your information. It shows you how much is owed. If you scroll down, you'll be able to see that you'll be able to choose the various payment options that we outline, which is the pay in full, the 4-week option, and 2-week option. Go ahead and select one of the payment options. And then from there, you'll ask you for a credit card, and I'll just provide you with a credit card number. It's a fictitious credit card number, but just under credit card number, just type in 4 and then all ones, basically until it turns green. If it turns red, just hit it back 1 until it turns green. So it's like I said, it's 4 and then all ones until it turns green. Under the expiration month, just put 12. Under the expiration year, just put 20. Under the postal code, just put 12345. And for the CVV, just type 123. Just make sure that you have checked, I have read and agree to the terms of service, and just make the payment. Yeah, and you'll notice that once payment is made, you'll receive another notification saying the payment was successfully received, and it will let you know when the next series of payments will occur and for how much. For those that have selected the pay in full option, it'll basically say thank you for the payment in full, and you'll probably receive an email and text, thank you for that particular payment. From there, what I like to do is I'm going to show you the analytics behind it on that particular statement I just sent. You'll notice that it says statement sent, statement email. I'll refresh this, and you'll notice that not only does it date and timestamp when an email was sent and when an SMS was sent, but it will also date and timestamp whether I clicked the SMS and whether I made a payment. It will let me know what payment option I chose, which is the 4-week option. It lets me know that it was $25. Although this says upcoming activity, no upcoming activity is scheduled. On a live account, it will let you know when the second, third, and fourth payments will be due. And again, everything is automated, so you don't have to worry about reaching out to your customer to do this. You don't have to worry about processing the payment. ItsPayd's process platform will automatically do that, and the payment will go directly to you. And then the last thing is to just kind of go to the dashboard. It will let you know all that statements that were sent, those that were fully recovered, those that were partially paid, lets you know how much. So you can actually click on it to determine who is actually partially paid. And you'll be able to determine when the next payment is going to be made. And another nice analytics I like to share is going back here. It will let you know those that have actually, all those that have been sent, who actually has opened or clicked your emails or texts. It will let you know those that are undeliverable. So that way you can actually update your internal file. So obviously if you've got a customer if you send an email to that's undeliverable, you can go ahead and make a change there. We'll also let you know those that have unsubscribed. Based on that information, you'll be able to make further determination as to how you want to proceed with that account. So if you know a customer, You've already sent out notifications to via mail. You've made some phone calls. Now you use ItsPayd. You notice that they're actually clicking on everything and they're still not contacting you. You have more information here to make a better or more informed decision as to what you want to do with that particular customer. So that's basically how ItsPayd works. So what I like to do now is just kind of encapsulate the power of SMS by going back to how technology allows us to change the way you communicate with your past due customers. And by deploying mobile technology in a process, it'll give you the power to keep and engage your customers, to protect your RMR, to reduce attrition, to help you recover your money, and more importantly, you can automate this entire process, thereby reducing your internal costs and your expenses. As we looked at earlier, ItsPayd automates this communication. So it is just as simple to send out notifications to 10,000 customers as it is just to one customer. And I know that traditionally, when you have many of these low dollar past dues, in the past, it was really no alternative to either just kind of write them off because, how cost effective was it to chase down just several of these $100, even $1,000, $40 past due accounts? Because it does represent a significant amount of money, but it did take a lot of resources internally to pursue this. Now you don't have to worry about that because when you combine the power of modern communication with payment technology and automation, this whole concept of what can be achieved within an in-house AR team truly gets redefined. It also adds a new layer of customer service because customers can make a payment from any device and really with any form of payment, whether it's a credit card or a debit card, even ACH. And as you've probably witnessed, if you did it yourself, you're able to make the payment within under 90 seconds. And again, you didn't have to use a username or password. So thereby, we're trying to create a frictionless form of payment so it makes it easy for your customers to pay. Just to kind of reiterate, when you receive the notification, you saw the various payment options. When you make the selection, it was really simple to make the payment. And as your client list grows, obviously the potential for past due occurs as well. So eventually, if that happens, you face the risk of having to add additional staff, maybe have to outsource to let's say a collection agency or possibly an attorney, or even simply write things off. But not anymore. By automating communications to customers and pushing the notifications right to the mobile device and offering a free, what we call a frictionless payment experience, it will definitely help you grow your business. Now, I'd like to open it up for questions. And again, please use the chat feature. That's located on the right side of your screen. Just put any questions there. We do have one question coming asking how much does this cost? Well, ItsPayd works on a subscription as a service. As a matter of fact, as a UCC dealer, we actually offer a substantial discount off the published rate. So it's really UCC preferred rates. Our plans start as low as $24 a month. It really is based on the number of past due accounts that you have. There are no contracts involved at all. So if you have any concerns about being locked into contract, it's on a month-to-month basis. So we also offer a 14-day free trial. So if you're interested in figuring out whether or not it works for you, I encourage everyone to at least try the 14-day free trial. That way you can determine whether or not it works for you. And if it does, great. If it doesn't work, it doesn't cost you anything. I don't see any other questions. With that said, oh, here we go. Are there minimum or maximum number of accounts this system can handle? Great question from Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah. No, there are no minimum nor maximum number of accounts the system can handle. We can handle anywhere from one account all the way up. We've got customers that use the system. They send out 10,000 accounts a month. So with no problems whatsoever. Thank you for that question, Sarah. Any other questions? All right. With that said, I want to thank everyone for attending. I did include my contact information here, so if you have additional questions, please feel free to reach me here. Again, I wanted to remind everyone that my slides will be available. Contact Catherine Schultz or anyone at UCC for a copy of the slides, and then you'll be able to receive those there. I'll also make this webinar, the video of this webinar available to UCC. So if you'd like to watch it again in the future, contact them, and they will provide you the link so you'll be able to watch it in the future. Again, thank you to UCC for helping us put this webinar on today. Again, I hope that you walked away with some additional information that will help you grow your business. And thank you again for your time. Have a wonderful day.